comes down to trying to cook with a diesel heater off the heat exhaust. I just had that little idea this morning and I thought it might get hot enough to cook my eggs. But that's a no-go on that one. It's been running about an hour and you've seen the temperature there. So that would take entirely too long. So I'm gonna finish my eggs out over here on the electric cooktop. Well friends, as y'all seen, that little experiment there didn't turn out so well. Now I'm not gonna say you couldn't cook your eggs by doing something like that. Maybe if you had your heater running, heating your tin all night when you're camping, rig you up something like I have with that little skillet and go and have your skillet sitting on there all night. That way it'll be as hot as it's gonna get when you start out. But that was just a little brain fart I had that I wanted to try out just to see what would happen. But what you're looking at there is the little VEVOR 5WK diesel heater. This will be my second diesel heater that I own. And after I get through eating my breakfast here, which is now a late breakfast, we're going to look at some stuff about this VEVOR diesel heater and see if I can explain to y'all how the controller works on it. There's one thing about these Chinese made diesel heaters, they got a pretty good product for the price. But them little controllers, none of them work the same. And the directions is very vague. You basically got to sit down and figure them out. So let me eat my breakfast and then I'll get right back with y'all. I'm having eggs, toast, and strawberry jelly this morning. Alright guys, so as you can see, my little quick idea this morning wasn't working so well. But today it is in the 80s out here. So I had no use for the heater this morning, but I'm still playing around with it. Now this here is the VEVOR 5kW. If you watch any of my videos, you know I have another diesel heater out in my greenhouse, and I got a new video that if you didn't see, you ought to go back and watch. I'll attach it above, how you can get extra heat if you're using this in your greenhouse. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. Go back and watch that video. I done some testing on that and that's working out great. It actually was cooler about a week ago, getting down in the 40s at nights, so it gave me time to play around with what I was doing out in the greenhouse. But if you get a diesel heater, or if you're interested in one, now I like the VEVOR here a little better than the one I got out in my greenhouse, because you ain't got to take out no screws. You got two latches on each side. Now of course it comes with the exhaust pipe, the little muffler, the little vent hose, which is nothing no more than slipping on, putting your little pipe clamps on, and your inlet air hose right here. But you can take your cap off right here, off your fuel tank, and this is something you need to check out if you get a new diesel heater, no matter which brand you get. And you can just pick the housing up. Now what you need to do is, like this one, I ain't done it yet. See, the tank's just sitting there. You need to tie that tank down, put some zip ties or something on it, so it can't be bouncing around when you're hauling it and stuff and get over and rub on something. Check out all your lines. These little metal in here's got sharp edges, and where your lines, fuel line, runs through these holes going into your heater there, and it goes on up under the bottom. You want to make sure it ain't rubbing on one of them sharp edges. And what I did on my other one, and I'll do this one too, is I take a little bit bigger hose where it goes through one of them holes, and I put over it to protect it from cutting that line. These Chinese diesel heaters, they really work good, but some of the assembly in here you need to look at before you really go to using it, or you'll end up with a leak. Also on my other one, this is your fuel pump. I put an inline fuel filter in it. Even though this one don't, but right here where this nipple screws into this tank, they make a lot of times tanks will have an inline filter screwed into the tank there. And you can buy an inline filter that'll screw right in there, and that may be what I do. I actually got some in my shed if they happen to be the right size. That's just something you want to check out when you get one. But the main thing I want to go over is the controller. If you don't know how to get one started and assembled, they all basically the same. And I already got some videos, if you'll look in my playlist on Chinese diesel heaters, where I done a test on them, and that was during cold temperatures, testing them in my greenhouse. So I ain't going back through all that. But I really like this little VEVOR here on them cool mornings when it's not cool enough for me to build a fire, because I know I ain't gonna be out here long, and plus it heats up so quick in the morning this time of year when we do have them good cool nights. I come out here, since I got this one, which I didn't have it sitting right here on the table like this. Actually guys, if you're wondering what this box is, that's my computer sitting in there, because when I'm downloading and fooling with videos, I like sitting outside, and the computer has such a glare on it I can't see it, so I just have it stuck in a pasteboard box to block the glare. But anyhow, back to the diesel heater. I come out here and I turn this thing on, and by the time I go feed the chickens and stuff, you know it's 40 degrees, my hands is cool, and I come back and sit right here and drink my coffee and eat my breakfast with this little diesel heater, and then I can just turn it off. It uses less fuel in the morning than I would use lighter fluid starting a fire in my heater, and then I'm just wasting wood. By the time I get the fire going, it's about warmed up enough I don't need it. But I'm gonna get y'all over here on the controller. These controllers is very confusing to people, and almost every one of them's different, even though if they look alike. I mean, you may get a VEVOR with this same model controller. They also come with the one that you can get with the apps with the phone, but from what I understand, they really don't do no more than this one does. And it ain't gonna do what you think. And what I'm gonna explain there is this is more like you gotta think of it as a timer, not an alarm clock or a, you gotta think of it like a countdown timer, I guess what I'm trying to say. It'll let you set the time in 24-hour military time. But even if I set the time, say if it's 9 a.m. right now, and I set the time for 9 a.m. Well, if I want this thing to come on, say 1 o'clock, like the one in my greenhouse, 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't set the time, and I'm going to speak in regular time here so I won't get confused thinking about military time, but it ain't got 12-hour time, it's got 24-hour time. But if I set the clock for what time it is right now, and then I set the timer on to come on, say at 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning, after it's done getting down there below 50 degrees at night, it's in my greenhouse, but I want it to run till 9 o'clock the next morning, so it'll be run long enough when the sun's coming up, then it can go off at 9 o'clock. Well, you can't set them like that. What they do, you set your time, and the easiest thing to do is don't even worry about the time. Just on the time, put 000, because what it does, if you want it to come on at 1 o'clock in the morning and you got to turn it on every day, it won't keep the same reading and come on every night at that time. You got to redo it every day, every night. So it's easier to me to just put it on 000. I want it to come on at 1 o'clock a.m. in the morning and say it's 5 p.m. in the evening. Well, if it's 5 p.m. in the evening, I want it to come on at 1 a.m. in the morning. I want the timer 1 to come on in 8 hours. So that's why it's easier to just put all zeros in there, and you can count up to the time you want it to come on, and then you got to put it in hours till it comes on. Then timer 2 to go off. This is where it gets confusing. On this one, you would put run time in there. So if I got it to come on at 1 o'clock, which you would put in 9 hours if I started at 5 o'clock p.m., and you wanted to run for 8 hours, you would just put it on 8 hours, and then it'll run 8 hours from the time it come on and goes off. Now the one out in my greenhouse is even more confusing, because even the timer to go off is counted down from the time you started. So if I started at 5, I wanted to come on at 1, I'd set it to come on in 8 hours. I want it to run 8 hours, I'd have to set that on 16 hours, because it's going to be 16 hours from the time I started. And that's why I'm saying these things are complicated to figure out in the instructions. I think they got a one set of instructions for all of them, even though they all don't work the same. So I'm going to get y'all over here and give you just a quick rundown on this controller. Alright guys, we're finna see if we can run y'all through how to power this up and set it. Like I said, first thing I don't understand is why you gotta turn the power on, which starts the diesel heater up before you can set it. It ought to be a way just to turn the timer on, get it set, and never turn this on, because if you ain't fast enough, it'll start running before you get everything set. So to recap, we got the power button, arrow up and down buttons. You can't see them because they're black, so it may be hard for you to see them on the camera. So let's see if I can do this real quickly. Power on. See, it says start heating. We're going to hold the arrow down key till it goes to SO1. That's your time of the day. Well, I'm not worried about the time of the day, so I'm holding hold my power down till the hours blink. And I'm going to set that as 0. You want to hold your power down again till your minutes blink, and I'm going to set that to 0. I'm dealing with it like a timer. We're going to start from 0. Now you hit your arrow up, it goes to 5:02. Hold your power down till your times blink, and I'm going to say I want it to come on in 5 hours. Hold your power down till your minutes blink. You can change your minutes. I'm going to leave them at 5 hours even. Then you hold your power down again to make it stop blinking. Hit your arrow up to 5:03. That's your run time. So it comes on in 5 hours. Hold your power button down. I'm going to change that to, say I want it to run in 1 hour. You can make it run from 1 hour to 10 hours. Y'all hear the pump starting to pump? It's coming on. See how fast it is? Hold the power key. Arrow up. Timer's on. If it wasn't on, you'd hold the power key. Arrow down to off, or arrow to on, whichever one you need. Hold the power key till the blinking goes. But see, the heater's up and running, blowing heat right now. Then you just hit the power key to turn it off. And now your timer's set. Again, that's why I do not understand why they don't have it to where you can set these timers without turning the machine on. That's to me, they could do better on that. So maybe VEVOR's listening to us. Another thing you can do is when you turn the power on, you can hold the power down and it'll change from auto to manual. I don't know if y'all can see that. I'm gonna set it for 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Or you can turn it all the way down to 46.4 degrees Fahrenheit. Now the thing about the Fahrenheit, it's misleading when you read about them and they say they thermostat controlled. These things do not go off. If you set it on 47 degrees and just say you hitting your tent in cold weather, or I'm going to use a different number, I'm going to say you heating your tent, you want it 70 degrees in there. Well, when it gets to 70 degrees, this thing does not go off, and then when the temperature drops, it comes back on. What it does when it's below 70 degrees, it'll run wide open, and as it gets closer to 70, it'll slow down, but it only slows to its lowest speed on the fan and the pump, so it's still going to be pumping hot air. So if your days get warm and you run off, leave it, it's going to be hot, hot, hot when you get back in there, because it's going to be on low running all day long. So that's something else I don't like about that. It's misleading. I would have loved for it to be temperature controlled. I could have set it at 50 degrees in my greenhouse if it would come on and off. So now we're going to turn it off. I don't know.
Stop heating. Thanks for using. I wish you a safe journey.
And that's how aggravating they are and how frustrating it is to try to figure them out. It's so aggravating, and what I don't understand, I could get used to this being a countdown timer. But I wished it was where you could set it, the clock, and I could set it one time and it'd come on. If I wanted to come on in the middle of the night in my greenhouse for a couple hours, it would come on every night. I wouldn't have to do it every evening. The second thing I don't understand is why you have to turn it on and it starts the heater on before to let you do any settings, and if you don't get all that done fast enough, the heater's done kicked on running, and then you gotta, after you get your timer turned on and you hit the, you gotta wait. If you don't wait a few seconds, it won't do nothing. You gotta wait a few seconds. The motor might be running, putting out heat by the time you're doing all that. You hit the power to turn it back off. So I don't get that. But this way on all Chinese heaters, I'm assuming. You start looking on YouTube, like I said, the one on that other brand I got out there has got one controller, and I know it's 3 different of us doing videos and they work different ways. So again, you turn it on, hit your air down, hold it till SO1 comes up, hit your power button, hold it till your hour blinks, use your air keys up or down to set your hours till you want it to come on. Hold your power button till your minute blinks. Use your air keys up or down till you get it to, if you want it on at 0, 12 o'clock, 12 hours now. You can see there where I go. 12 hours, I mean, you can change it to 0 or 12, 15, whatever. Hit your power button, hit your air over to SO3, hold your power button down till your time starts blinking. Then that's your run time on this one. On this one, it's the run time. So from the time it comes on, if you want it to run 2 hours, 3 hours, all the way up to 10 hours. Yep, 10 as high as it goes. Hold your power button. You see that time, I didn't do it fast enough and it kicked me back out, so I got to start over. Hold your air down till it comes up. Well, it saved my SO2 time to come on. It saved my SO3, but it didn't turn my timer on. So now I hold the power button down, key up to on, click the power button. This is where you gotta wait a few seconds. then turn the machine off.
Stop heating.
That's how it's done, guys. But you can change it to Celsius to Fahrenheit. Then it's got an automatic and a manual mode. And this is something else that's misleading. If you read it about this heater, where they sell it, it said thermostat controlled. Well, it's not thermostat controlled. When you turn it on automatic, and you got it in Fahrenheit, and you turn it to 70 degrees, well, you put it in your tent, and I'm going to keep using tent as an example, and it's cold in there, this thing's going to run on high speed, the fan and the fuel pump pumping the most amount of fuel in it with the hottest amount of air. But when it gets down to 70 degrees, which is right here on this keypad, that don't mean this heater's going to go off, and then when the temperature starts dropping again, it's going to come back on. What that means is it's going to slow down the fan speed, it's going to slow down the fuel pump, but it's still going to be pumping out and blowing hot air. So your tent's going to continue to be getting hotter and hotter and hotter. So it's not temperature controlled. That's kind of a misleading deal in there. Now I guess if it's cold enough that even when it's running on low, it wouldn't get your tent too hot, it'd be all right. But yeah, it don't go on and off by itself. But that's all Chinese diesel heaters. You get a lot of complaints about that. It is frustrating to me that they make such a good product for a very good price, but they could do some little upgrade here on the controllers. So maybe some of the VEVOR people out there is watching this video and they'll say, hey, you know, we could come up with a lot better controller than our competitors out there, and maybe charge a few more dollars for that upgraded that, and I guarantee you a lot of people would love to upgrade on the controller. I love these little heaters. Like I said, I've had one. That one in my greenhouse is over 2 years old, and it's working like a champ. And I got this one, and we use it out here until it gets cold enough I can build fires, and then I can use it in my shed, or if I go camping in my old hunting camper, or whatever I want to do. You could take this right here, if you're a person that likes to go fishing, in your boat, and set it in the bottom of your boat and hook that wire to your 12-volt battery, and you would have something out there when you fishing. I know a lot of you fish when it's cold, especially up north and stuff, and have you a heater to where you could warm up. And this is much more efficient than using a propane heater. A propane heater fall over you in your boat, it could catch something on fire. But this ain't gonna catch nothing on fire because the flame and all's internal. So these things are very handy. I love them myself. We used to have them back in the day, and I know the wind's getting up and it's probably blowing all kind of things around here. But I was sitting out here today playing with this, and I wanted to see if I could cook an egg on it. I'm gonna call that a failure. But guys, I hope that helps somebody out. If you're interested in the VEVOR products, look down in the description below my video, and there'll be a link to these VEVOR heaters and some other VEVOR products. I got several VEVOR products, and I've only had one VEVOR product that came that I wasn't happy with, and I contacted them and they told me to send it back, but I chose to keep it because I modified it myself quicker than I could actually box it back up and take it and drop it off to send it back. But for the Chinese products out here on the markets, the VEVORs, to me, everything I've got's been working good and better made. A lot of the stuff is better made than some of the other brands. But as always, guys, hope y'all have a great day and a blessed week. I appreciate y'all. See y'all next time.